Hello, cyclocross friends, and thanks for tuning in to episode 354 of Cyclocross Radio. On today's show, we're talking about the Pan-American Cyclocross Championships that took place this past weekend. I think that's what we're going to concentrate on. We don't know what happened in the Euros. Know the winners, but really didn't were otherwise occupied over the weekend. So we will talk about what we know. Before we do that, again, I want to tell you about the Hammerhead Karoo. It is really nice here. It was in the 60s for Pan Am, so it's been an awesome opportunity to get out and get some rides in. It was fun. Some of the rides that I was doing, I do almost on a daily basis. It was kind of fun to see everybody who was in town for Pan Ams, recording their filming their rides through DC, and I'm like, hey, I ride that all the time. So it was good to share those paths. And what they could do that I don't have to anymore is use all the map features on the Karoo to tell them where to go, but not only that, to tell them all of the highlights and the places that they can check out on the way. So it's not all about workouts. You can map it, and it'll let you know where the monuments are in Washington D.C. and where the best coffee shops are and everything else. And it is state-of-the-art mapping in the Karoo, and just another feature along with everything else. You can do your serious rides. You can also just use it as a tool to get around town, so you don't have to pull out your phone and look at your maps. But if you are doing the training part of it, or if you just want to know, what your fitness is like when you're just riding around, you can have the heart rate monitor that comes with the Hammerhead Karoo for free. And you can do that by going to hammerhead.io, putting the Karoo into your basket to check out, and then taking the heart rate monitor, the Hammerhead heart rate monitor, also putting that into the basket, then using the code CXRadio, CXRADIO, when you check out, and that'll deduct the cost of the heart rate monitor, so you basically get it on us. So we'll take care of that. You pick up the Karoo, we get credit for you buying it and using the CX Radio code. You get a heart rate monitor for free. That is a win-win proposition. Hammerhead.io, put the Karoo into your basket, put the heart rate monitor into your basket, use the code CX Radio, one word, CXRADIO, and that heart rate monitor is on us. Also, Boedi, I want to shout out the Wide Angle Podium Podcast Network. We saw Rob Kelly at the Armed Forces Retirement Home. He was checking out Pan Ams, and then he was very excited when Brodie McDonald won the DCCX race the next day, because that's a guy known for crit racing. Although maybe we'll chat about it. If you look at John from Above Four, who's a California photographer, he was pointing out that Brodie McDonald has been racing cyclocross his entire life. So he's got about a decade or so of cyclocross racing. He's got John's got pictures of him as a little kid out there racing cyclocross. So it's one of those things, overnight phenom that took 15 years to get there. So the guy isn't coming into cyclocross fresh. But anyway, that's all to say that Rob was there. He's doing all of his Criterium Nation stuff, being very active, not only as Substack, but also on the podcast. So he is on the Wide Angle Podium Podcast Network, along with Grodio, along with Nowhere Fast, along with the Slow Ride podcast, a slew of independent cycling media. Also, Cyclocross Television comes under that umbrella as well. We are on the Wide Angle Podium YouTube channel, which is all part of the same. Yeah, Bodie's got his shirt on. All part of the same company. So this is all to say that we're independent. We're independent media. We are one of the few that is not owned by outside or any other huge media conglomerate. We are just running this on our own, and to continue to do that, it takes your help and your support. So if you want to support us or any of the other shows on the Wide Angle Podium Podcast Network, go to wideanglepodium.com. You can become a member. You can choose which shows you would like to support, and it's a great way just to keep cyclocross reporting and also just cycling reporting and independent cycling reporting alive. Boedi, we're back.
Bill, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's been hours, it seems like.
Just over 24, maybe. I was just actually looking at Boedi McDonald's results on cross results, and John above 4. He's correct. Lots of racing there. Boedi McDonald also finished second in the collegiate relay last year at nationals.
Milligan,
yeah, from Milligan. Rob
who else?
was.
Do we know anybody else? Do we know anybody else in that Milligan squad? Does it show who else was racing?
No, it doesn't show on cross result. Oh, actually, wait. Oh, he raced with Vita, Tom Scott, and Miles Mattern, Finley Apselm, and Lizzie Gonzalez. So quite a hitter of a squad.
But those are people from all different colleges.
Oh, you're right. Wait, so Milligan had 2 riders in Marion. So it's listing Milligan having 2 riders.
Okay. How does this work? I don't think this is correct. It's all right. We could either just leave all this in. We could leave all this in, or we could edit it out. You choose.
I think we leave it all in.
Okay, let's leave it on.
Guys,
that's good.
I don't remember.
Boedi, I've been doing something the last 2 episodes. I've been making very fine edits. I've been doing a really good job in there, just cutting it, making us sound as pros as we know we are. And then I've been loading those up to YouTube. And then I've been thinking, you know what? The raw audio is better. So I'm going to just put the raw audio up on the on Libsyn. And I didn't realize what I was doing until we were at the race. We were setting up for Pan Ams during the week. And Libby Sheldon asked me, what book was it that my wife and Boedi were talking about on the podcast? And this confused me because I knew I had edited it out.
Oh, that's amazing.
So if you were early in the downloads, you got all of that extra behind the scenes content. But if you're late in your downloads, it's I went and fixed all of them. But yeah, I was like, how do you know this? So that was fun.
Well, the book we were talking about was The Dragon Reborn, the 3rd book in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, which I am still reading and enjoying. Nice. So there you go. That's the book. I know. So I actually want to know now, if you were at CX Nationals last year, you watched the collegiate relay, you watched the club relay. Was it just Boedi and Vita who raced against other teams with squads of 4 and they were 2? Please let us know, because that's a fun trivia.
Maybe they did. It's very possible. That would be sick too. I mean, those are 2 fast people.
Yeah, I mean, Vita went out and won elites the next day or a couple days later, whenever it was.
Is it teams of 6?
Teams of 4.
Teams of 4. So they each did 2 laps. That seems like it should be against the rules.
Yeah,
maybe it's. I mean, if that's what it is, maybe it's not. Yeah, maybe we should have known this. Maybe we did know this at one point. That's also a distinct possibility that we knew this. Boedi, we may have talked about it.
I don't think we did. I don't. Okay, sorry,
but I don't recall it at all.
Yeah, I'm busy. I was going to say something else about intro. Oh, I say Rob was wearing a mic when he was at the cross race. So if you're listening to the podcast, I mean, hopefully some of his audio, his interactions with people there will come out. So yeah, support the Wedding on Podium.
Yeah. And now he's maybe taking in a cross race because he's in the Netherlands.
That's right.
No, he's in Belgium. He's in Belgium. Yeah, he's in Antwerp. Yeah, really close. Yes. You could walk to the Netherlands from Antwerp. All right. Where should we start?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot to cover. I mean, there's a lot of races. I mean, I kind of feel like,
Well,
this is your race. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about
we
your
were happy
events.
it happened. It was
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
It all came together just like we planned it. We didn't have to go to any alternate venues. I think that as far as the race weekend went, we could not have. I mean, personally, I know people always want mud at cyclocross races, and that didn't happen. But that was
That
fine
only
with
happens in
me.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, only since and only on one day. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for. But everything went off great. I mean, there's always going to be like little issues here and there, and we got some feedback on some of the stuff with how everything was set up, but just throughout the day, people seem to have a really good time and enjoy racing and seeing that venue, and yeah, could not be more pleased with how it all went down.
Yeah, this is my first time there, so fresh eyes, don't have all the history to sort of compare the race to. I know when I got there on Friday, I went with you to check out the course and lended a hand. The Verge steps, that scrim, I helped do that, guys. So pat on my own back. But I was a little worried about how we were going to cover this race because of just the way it was separated, sort of across the road, across the lake to that backside. And through this, we kind of talked about this earlier, was that like you go with the plan, and the junior women is where you test your plan. And often after the junior women, you kind of maybe adjust on the fly. So usually the junior women is where we decide, okay, this plan doesn't work, and we adjust. And as the races go on, and you'll see in the coverage too with this weekend, is that we kind of dial in the shots, we dial in our spots to get the coverage. We see which features actually become important and which ones maybe don't offer a lot of action. And so anyway, I was not sure how this was going to play out because it was one day shooting 6 races, and Danny and I did make adjustments. But I was worried. And then after all the edits I've done, I think that we really were able to cover it quite well. Even with our stationary cams, added some pretty important moments. And so I was stoked with how it turned out. And I was just a lot of, on Saturday, some of those shots you got, Bill, just a ton of people at the start finish. A lot of people all around the venue. Good vibes all around. I had a really good time there. It was good to see the Cross family again. And I liked being in DC, as I've said before, and it was fun on Sunday to ride my Lime bike down and catch the last part of the men's elite race. It was a kind of a new experience for me. I could have used the Karoo because Google Maps was taking me some weird ways to get there.
Yeah, you went to like you had Heather and I just looking at maps, going, where did they send you? Yeah, so yeah, just to fill in some gaps here for if people don't know. So we may have mentioned it last week, but Danny Wong got the call to help us film. So the way we were trying to do things this weekend, so Boedi and Danny were filming. I did not film this week because I knew that this was the hardest venue that we've had to film, and I was like, I'm just going to bow out and let those guys deal with it. Instead, I had, along with stuff I was doing for the race, what we were trying to do is lessen the burden of the editing at the end of the day. So I was just grabbing files and yeah, I don't know. I think that helped a little bit for some of the stuff, but I think the bigger thing was just with our stationary cameras being able to not have to worry about being at a start line and just being able to run out there and change cards and change batteries for every race. I think that in that aspect it helps. But yeah, but I didn't shoot it. But so. I mean, I've been taking photos at that and video at that race for over a decade, so I knew it was a hard one. Going through and doing the voiceovers for all these and doing the edits is just kind of funny going backwards. I mean, almost just like mementoing this thing and seeing how the shots just changed and evolved over the day. And I was just looking at the at your edit from the from the junior men, which we'll have up in the next day or so, or maybe already by the time this thing gets out there. And it was like, wow, these are shots I didn't see at all the rest of the day. Obviously, you're like, well, it's just not doable, right? You're at like this angle. You're like, well, this is going to be too hard to get to the next place I need to get to. So that just this shows up for the one race and then disappears.
It's kind of makes it interesting though, because it adds a little bit of variety to the coverage. So I was like, watching Danny's like, oh, I never saw this angle. This is cool. And I think there's some fun stuff in the juniors. That's like I know that the junior videos we put out don't get as many views, and I'd say go watch them still though. I mean, like both the men and the women, like future stars, really, really strong folks. And it's really, I guess we'll talk about it. The junior men, story that the year has been sort of Ethan Moore battling Fincraft, really going against a team, sometimes 3 times 4 riders, and getting some wins and also suffering some tough losses, and just watching the footage, the kid gets after it. Like he takes it on. Like
Ethan Brown.
Sorry. I apologize, Ethan. Cause there's an Evan Moore, right? See that always gets me. I'm a little slow, guys. Ethan Brown, sorry, strong kid. And I just want to give him kudos because he gets after it. He takes on the charge of battling multiple Fincraft riders. And sure, I'll go to the front and I'll put the hammer down. And he does it all race long. And so like these videos are worth watching, and I suggest you check them out.
Yeah, I think that's something that we have a lot of hand wringing also all the time when we're looking at like our elite fields, thinking, oh, where's is this sustainable, or as many people racing as used to race? Where's the talent coming from? And I think those are a lot of questions we always get. And I think we can point to these junior fields and go, they're coming. They're in there. The junior women and the junior men. They're strong, and they're going to be just contenders and forces to deal with. We saw it at NoHo last weekend in the elite race, where I think the average age in the women's race of the top 5 or so was like 18.
Yeah, and so in the men's was also like one guy over 23, might have been Dylan, and the rest were like under 20. So yeah, we just gotta not lose them to mountain biking. Mountain biking season's too long. Road's
As is road. No, road's too long. You know what else is really long? Gravel. Gravel is ridiculous. February to December season.
I don't want to talk about gravel. Gravel bums me out. All these cross racers,
and then we always get just going back to this old yarn. People are always like, cyclocross season's too long. Cyclocross season starts too soon. It's still road season.
There's too many sports.
There's too much. Give us 3 months. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah,
I just wanted Cycle
4
Smart.
months. 4 months. Give us 4 months.
Day 2.
Yeah.
The first 11 riders were 22 or under
for the
men.
Women. Nice. Yeah.
The first 6 were under 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of strong guys in there. So the future is there are stars in all these fields, as we saw in all the videos. I mean, U23 race, banger. I'm just like super fun to watch that. I watched your cut. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about let's start with junior men, how the day went. Like I said, it was a battle between Fincraft and Ethan. What happened to my results?
Well, yeah, Ethan, Jacob Hines was up there as well. Kean Reed, the Bear development rider, up in the mix, and then Matthew Crabb. So those were your Fincraft trio, and then NXT and Bear as the other teams represented at the front of that race.
Yeah, it really was a race.
And then your Canadian Evan Moore in 6th place.
Yeah, so Pan Am's represented. And it really was a race where each rider from Fincraft would take a lap and hit it hard and try to shake Ethan Brown, but they never could. Then he would come back and he'd say, "Here's my turn," and he would go. And then I think sort of second to last lap, it was Matt gave it a go. Matt Crabb couldn't shake him, and the feature that before, like on Friday, we're like, okay, this off camber on the back seems really difficult. Then it kind of seemed like some of the pre-rides and some earlier on, I was like, oh, it's not that difficult. They've got it all figured out. But I think it really mattered, like how fast you came in there, and how like if you could, what speed could you, how fast could you go and stay in control? Because we saw in the U23 men's race and in the junior men's race where Ethan is leading into that feature, he wants to get to the front for that section, and he crashes. I think he actually hits his bars maybe on the tape on the high side, so he was trying to take the high line, and he goes down, and he has to jump off the bike, and Noah goes around, and then Noah is leading all the way through. And once you get to the entrance of Pet 2, it's a huge power section all the way to the finish, and he was able to hold that and win the race there. And then Jacob Himes kind of came around Kean Reed at the end and took third. So yeah, that it was that we got a lot of, so we, after on Friday, Adam Meyerson had sort of, I think he might've done like a pre-ride with his team and clients or whatever. And he came up to you, Bill, and he was just like, great course. He's like, really awesome course. And he talked about, what did he say? He was like, there was a lot of trouble that was like kind of hard to see. Do you remember the exact words?
Well, the quote I like, he was like, there's a lot of cyclocross out there.
Right. Yeah.
And
I think
there was,
no, we got a comment on YouTube. There's it's a tame course. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe if you were there, like, it's hard to like judge that by the video, but there's no, it's not Namur, it's not a giant cobbled climb. It doesn't have Mount Crumpet, but it just has all these little elements that are very cyclocrossy, and you have to judge your speed. You have to get your tires correct, and you got to know when to put the power down and where to go first so you can put the power down.
And even that off camber you were talking about, in that exit, which a lot of people had trouble with, that was something that could have been set up in a way in which you could have just flown through there without even thinking about it. And the team that set up the course spent a lot of time back there. I mean, moving the stakes like inches one way, one direction and another to make sure that that exit was not just a clear shot from point A to point B, that you had to think. You had to choose a line. There was a high line and a low line, and there were advantages and disadvantages to both of them. And you were not going to be able to just get through there, fast and clean. You had to come off of either of those lines at some point to make it out of the exit. And that was all purposeful. And, Mark Watts is a guy who's designed this course for years. And then, we had, Merriam in there, and Chris Merriam and other folks. Andrew was going around and had some suggestions. And the funny thing, that was kind of the running joke. This is a course that was just set up for Strohmeyer. That was kind of the thing. It's his team putting on this race, and it's like, to some extent, this course has always set up for Andrew Strohmeyer. It's a twisty, turny course. It's been that way since, the last 18 years. It's not like anything changed. Like, it was a huge power course at one point, and now it's not. But he did give some really good suggestions. And the thing that he said, he was like, I'm not making this easier for me. I'm trying to make it challenging for everyone. That was kind of his take on it. If that's successful or not, I think people had we heard some input on one way or the other, but I think for the most part, all throughout the day, maybe some of the elites have a different opinion, but throughout the day, for most people that were racing that course, I think they really liked it.
Yeah. So, I think it was good.
Junior women, anything notable there? Ada Linton came on strong second half of the season, and has basically just ridden away from folks.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was trying to remember, because I didn't edit that one, so I haven't got the refresh, but I just remember shooting that she got a gap pretty pretty early she was solo, and just kind of it was more the battle for third, and I think the battle for fifth that I was following. So it was
This was one of
Ada.
this. I think this was the race. This was really the only race we had that had bigger gaps in it.
Yeah,
I think that one of the, again, this can be a positive for some and a negative for others, but there was a lot of group racing and
yeah,
a lot of I think most of our, we're talking about the juniors, U23s, and elites. Most of those races came down to at least the last two laps, if not the last lap.
yeah.
And that, if you're watching cyclocross, that's what you want,
Yeah, that's sort
right?
of my editing directive to add it to Danny when to help us out. It's just like we want to see the action, or just the shooting action. It's all about coverage, right? And we want the groups. We want to show the group all that stuff, and whatever you got to do to make to cover that. And yeah, the group racing is good. That's what it's about. I mean, I think I've said this many times, but like, I would much rather watch a dry race that has group racing and tactics versus a quote unquote cyclocross mud slog that's a time trial. And that's just what I find exciting about cross is this stuff is seeing. I'm thinking of the coverage, seeing riders looking back and being like, pull through, or like, like, what are you going to do, or dive bombing for corners, or really making sure that no one gets past you and putting your elbow out there. I mean, I think that stuff is exciting. I saw a post by Lizzie where she was talking about Lizzie Gonzalez, winner, just about how every elbow, like every like shove was like, she was just talking about how that's cross, and it was like done out of respect, and like it's not like that's how you play the sport, and that's what she likes to do, and that there was all love there. And I think that all her competitors felt the same way. But in like Magali being her sort of feelings after the race, and realizing it's a puzzle, right? That it's not just a walk contest, and how do you solve that puzzle, I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and we can talk more about Magali and sort of her comments on how the race played out, which was kind of interesting in that she was one of the people who didn't think that the course was hard enough. She thought that there were no long power sections, and then the technical stuff didn't differentiate skill enough, so it was just a lot of group racing. And I completely respect that, but then I can also look at some of these other races, like the men's elite race, where the way to break that up is out of the saddle, sprinting out of every turn, and
Right.
you do that, and you just break people down. And I know that everybody's they're much better at this racing than I ever was, and and they know what they're doing. But that's just the difference that I saw, that there were ways to make the race harder if the terrain doesn't necessarily give you that opportunity on its own. That's kind of the mantra we always go back to: the racers make the race. And it's how, again, like Mags was saying, it's that puzzle. But we'll listen to her thoughts on that later on. But one of the race, or the races, I think, even going down here, which we can talk about, these U23 races, one that maybe was decided early, still had possibly one of the best races we had. I mean, Henry Coote ran away with this thing. He just looked amazing. Coming back, was injured. It was, I think from the people who were either coaching him or talking to him, they're like, just let's not come back too fast. Let's make sure you're okay. And I think Henry was just like, chomping at the bit and wanting to get in there and race. And waiting until last week to race, and this week I think was the right move, because boy, does he look good. He is just flying.
Yeah, super fast. I mean, the kit looks good. It was good to see the kit. It's fun that they can wear the national championship kit in the Pan Am's race, which we'll get to a why later on in the podcast. But yeah, Coot looked good, and I'm trying to think where. I think he he was just faster, right? I'm trying to think. There was not. I can't remember if there was.
It
any
was earlier. It was a couple laps in, and he kind of rode off the front and was
right because he.
done
I
with
mean,
it.
there were smaller power sections, and you just push it and you go. And I remember I think it was out of the pit or something like that. Pit one, but we had we had really good racing behind him. It was good to see. I'm trying to think. We talked to Luke Walter after Inglewood. He's been in Europe racing all over there. So good to have him stateside, and he was up there with Coop for a bit. And I was like talking up the race. And I was like, dude, it's good to see you out there, like punching up there with Henry. And he was like, my legs weren't feeling good. And I was like, dang, all right, well, I'm excited for you to have good legs. But Ryan Drummond, just rising star in the sort of domestic elite scene this year. The results have just been going up. Stonks up for Ryan in that mix. It was good to see. We had Marcus Shelton back at a cross race with his brother Noah,
which was a funny dynamic because I would say, we're going to keep saying this. This is one of those. I think this was a really fun video and one worth watching. Just that battle behind and just seeing. I mean, Marcus, did something happen? I don't know. It was just awful start, or maybe it was even like since he hasn't been racing, he might have been gridded farther back, but he had to take a couple laps just to get up there. And then once he got to the chase group, he just kind of blew by all of them. And then the chase group was all just sitting behind his brother. And Noah at one point, turned around and is just kind of like yelling at everybody else thinking, one of you has to do this. We're not only brothers, we're on the same team. If you guys want to go get him, go. But I'm not the person to be sitting on the front. And they kind of eventually
not
figured
at least
that
the
out.
entire time, right? It's like that whole thing. It's like, put some work in. I'll come through too as well. I mean, I am really curious to hear. We should have asked them. There's so many things I should have done, but
it's like, well, at some point you're like, okay, doing the math, and maybe this is a battle for third, so you don't want to sit on the front. And at that point, they're like, well, your brother's up there, so you have to be on the front because we're all, looking to get third place. I don't know. I don't know what the mindset is there. But the one thing that I will say with all of these racers in this men's U23 race, we talked about it last week in our preview. I think this is one of those races that, probably not Brunner, Strohmeyer, Jules, but the rest of that elite field were really happy that, as we were talking about earlier, there is that youth movement out there, which meant for the Pan-American Championships, they were not racing in the same race this weekend.
Right.
Because you put Henry, you put Marcus, you put Ryan, you put Luke, you put Aiden Volmuth was up there, Noah, Dylan Haynes was up there. You put all of them in the elite field, and that top 10's looking a little different.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one thing. It's like, it is cool. I'm glad, it's great that they have a U23 race for the men and women, but at the same time, it'd have been really good to see all of them, mixing it up with Strohmeyer and Brunner and Jules and Carey and all those guys. And we didn't quite get that on day two. I don't know if we'll talk about it, but some of those guys were done or tired, or they weren't racing. But I agree, Bill. I'm curious to see who's going where the rest of the week, the rest of the year domestically, and to hear about those battles.
Yeah. Women's under 23 race. This was another banger. This was one of our races that came down to the wire. All right, should we just address this now? The comment. Somebody's name in here. Aunt Sherry. Talk to me. I need to know. You left a comment saying that I was disrespecting somebody by mispronouncing their name. I don't know who it is. Tell me whose name I'm mispronouncing.
We're trying to guess who it is because
is it I was saying Assel. Now I don't know what I was saying. Asseltine? Is it Asseltine?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's Mia. Maybe it's Maya.
Yeah.
I try to say Sarkisov. I mean, Raphael.
I feel like you would know.
Times in there, I said Carrier instead of Carrier. I caught those, but I tried to, I was going back and forth. Whose name am I getting wrong? I left you a comment on YouTube, so just respond to that, please.
So let us know, yeah, and if you listeners, let us know too whose name. Whose aunt have we upset? Although the same person put a comment, great racing. So,
She did.
you know,
She did. Yeah.
yeah. So it was great racing. And, you know, that was group racing all day long there. Really came down to the last lap. Didn't know. I mean, all those riders in that front group were putting in attacks, going to the front. The one rider I say who, you know, and you edited this when I watched it, I shot it, but I was like, you know, who actually, well, the riders who wasn't going to the front that much that I see, who wasn't putting in big attacks, was Mia. And Mia's the one who won. So it would have been good to talk to her after the race. Unfortunately, folks, it was 6 races. They were back to back to back to back. So it's just like there was no time to download with anybody. But was that a tactical decision, I'm wondering, by her? Was that I'm not feeling great, so like I've got enough to stay in this group, and then I'll just kind of, you know, if the right situation plays out, I'll put my one match at the end? Or, yeah, like I said, was it a tactical decision? Like, hey, these riders are attacking a lot, and I can just cover wheels and see how far I can float this. So, you know, that's one way to do it. And I mean, should we talk about the sort of the last pass on the last corner?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go right to that.
Grant, we asked for Instagram questions. Grant, I feel like Grant is just getting questions funneled to him from elites. But
Okay.
we'll get
like
to
it.
Which is kind of funny.
He's
He's
talking about like Grant, a lawyer.
Grant, who's, you know, races single speed, but he's like concerned about the UCI parking, and he's concerned about the lack of power sections and the elite races. I'm like, Grant, where's this coming from? Tell me who's feeding you this 411 to pass along to us. We want those folks to ask these questions. You don't have to cover for them. Anyway, Grant asking Mia A. I can't pronounce her last name now. I don't know if that's the one I'm screwing up. Clean move for the win. We got it on the video. We got the replay.
Yeah, I mean, after reviewing the tape, oh, man, I think it's a cyclocross pass. I think it's clean. I think it's. I wish I had like a different angle. I mean, I'm the one who shot the stuff, but yeah, she comes out of the exit of pit 2. They're turning into that last straight. It's a left up off camber, tight though, you know. And there was an incident earlier in the day where someone had tried to move the fencing, but like as you said, the course is designed a certain way, and that's, you wanted that exit to be tricky, right? You can't just go all out to the start finish straight. You know, so there, if you, the low line kind of makes you hit that turn nicely, so you come out, and Kaya was going down. She was in front. Kaya was going down. It did look like that Mia kicked a lot harder from the exit of pit 2 to get that speed, and so she took the high line and got to that corner right in front of Kaya. Kaya sort of essentially almost turning into her because that's her line she wants to take, and Kaya's left shoulder is in, I don't know if in Mia's armpit. So Mia's ahead of her. And
yeah, the way I saw it was no question, 100% clean. You know, when it all went down, there was questions, oh, did somebody take somebody out? And you look at it, and it truly is. And again, that exit, similar to what we were talking about with the off-camber exit, was poured over for a long time. And even in the preview, there were people out there trying to move the fence to a different position and all this kind of stuff. And we're like, don't mess with our course. This is set up in a purposeful way. You are not, we know that if that fence was 6 inches lower, it'd be really easy to take that low line and just sprint to the finish. Absolutely. 100%. That's not what we wanted. We wanted you to have to make that move to get onto the finish. It was not supposed to be easy. So therefore, you kind of needed to be on that high line. Now, how you got there were 2 ways. You could start low and come up high, or you could stay high. But if you're coming in there parallel with somebody else, at some point, somebody has to give up the spot, or you run into each other. And that's kind of what happened here. And if you look at it, Mia was coming faster on that high line than Kaya was on the low line. She got to that outside post first, had the line. Kaya had to go foot down, leaning into her. And, it stinks. We want to see a clean pass, but, it's also really exciting because that's what you're racing for. You're racing for that post. Both of them went for it, gave it 100% to go for it and try to get that win. And Mia came out ahead. I mean, I think exceptional end of that race. I feel bad for Kaya, because she raced hard, tactically, was at the front for that last lap, put in that attack at pit one, was able to regain the lead at the off camber, did everything right, but just, played that one a little wrong. And Mia, or not even wrong, but Mia just played it better and took it for the wins.
I haven't seen Kaya race since last year, and just filming, I was like, Kaya's charging. She is just ripping those power sections out of pit one, just that whole little hump and then down to the little twisty turn. I was like, whoa, like she's going so fast. She's being super aggressive, and I was very impressed. And I feel like, her experiences in Europe probably gained her a lot of knowledge, and it was really good to see that side of her and sort of her progression as an athlete. Just an interesting side note, we didn't cover this in the men's U23 race, but also there was a battle to that same turn. Drummond, who was off the back of the chase group, caught up because of a crash on the previous off camber. Go watch the video. It's so good. But once again, it was Comp Edge versus the
Pure Energy Drink Haro Bikes by Corrego.
I was going to say it the other way around, but yes, exactly. Same team. So Luke Walter was the guy on the low line there who got overtaken by a Comp Edge rider on the top line. So yeah, a lot of moments, a lot of active moments at corners in this race. All right, Women Elite.
That was a race.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Once again, another rider we hadn't seen this year because, I mean, she has been racing. Lizzie Gonzalez wins that one over Mags. But I think, Lizzie had 5 wins in a row.
Yeah, I slighted her out of a win. I think I said she was 4 for 5, where she's actually 5 for 6.
Right.
Now 6 for 7.
Well,
technically 6 for 8.
Yeah. Yeah, shouldn't have a lot of folks are feeling tired on day 2. I was not able to watch that.
I don't think there was a lot of incentive to go super hard on Sunday.
Well, I mean, I think some
especially
people,
if you would already won a jersey.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. I mean, like Brody won on day 2. I mean, he wanted to win. So yeah, I mean, group racing for that one as well, as Magali had said, and she'll say, hard to find a place to get away. But Lizzie, like I said, also haven't seen a race, looks really good, looks really strong, very fast. I think the thing about Lizzie, I was thinking, it was that I remember, she's been around, she's been racing cross for a long time. She was very tiny. I distinctly remember a video, I think that Tom Parsons did maybe for USAC at like Asheville Nats. It was like, featurette on like a 10-year-old like bike racer, and here she is now, Pan-American champion. So good story for the folks who've been following for a long time. She was super stoked. Great footage by Danny. Shout out Danny for getting those reactions at the end. I thought they were super cinematic, and I was really impressed. I don't know, Bill, any other thoughts on that race? Since it's most freshly in your minds, did you cut it?
What's your quote about good and perfect?
Perfect is the enemy of good.
You had the shot of the day. Was it perfect?
No. Not at all. I thought it was throwaway. I thought I didn't get it.
Was it the shot of the day? Yes. Yes, it was. So there was a pivotal we've been seeing basically on this course. If you were leading going to the backside of the course with the off cambers, it was tough to pass back there. It was really tough to pass back there. Lizzie made a really, great pass coming low under Mags with a third of a lap left to go. It was on the other side. There's this at this venue, there is a pond, a Coast Guard. It's it's the Armed Forces Retirement Home. This is the Coast Guard pond. People go back in there, they fish and stuff, but it's also got this huge, fencing all around it and the trees everywhere. And Boedi had found this little window in there, and I know from the way that his creative and artistic side of his head works, that he was like, this is really cool framing. I can just shoot through these trees here and catch a little bit of the action, and that's what he's doing. It was like reflecting off the pond, and when I first saw the footage, I was like, were you just trying to get the reflections off here? What's going on? And because I was just like quickly just skim, before you start finer editing, I was just sort of skimming through to see what was there. And it was one of those shots I almost was like, well, we don't need that. It's not part of the story. And then I went back and looked at it again, because it's like sort of going in and out of focus. I was like, holy crap, you got it. That was the pass. That was like the move of the race. And it's right there. And it's one of those things that, most people watching it are like, yeah, great. It doesn't, but I know you're watching, you're like, oh, it's not sharp the whole way.
Yeah. But yeah, so she makes the pass, and Magali, like it came down to a sprint, right? It wasn't like a pass and then like that was it. Like Magali caught up to her after pit 2, and came off that tricky turn on her wheel, and I was like, ooh, I actually don't know who's going to win this sprint. Like, and she couldn't come around her. Yeah,
it's a short sprint. There's not really a lot of room to wind up, especially we spent 10 minutes talking about the entrance onto the sprint, and why you have to really get it right. And it's tough for two people to come up at their same time. There's also, it's kind of a hard up onto there, so there's a potential to get brake checked or anything else. It's a really hard finish to come around. I think, if we go to Sunday again, I think Lydia Kuzak winning the women's elite race coming around, she might have been the only person I saw who actually successfully came around somebody and was able to get the win. But yeah, it's really hard. And Magali came in here with this as a goal for the season, and she did not get the title, and she was pissed off about it. She wrote about it in her Substack newsletter, and talked about how she doesn't like losing. I mean, nobody does, but she's has pretty strong feelings about it. And yeah, I think this was kind of the most upset we've seen her after a race. She still kept it positive, but definitely wasn't feeling 100 after this one. Should we listen to her?
Let's
her
play
thoughts. All right, let's do this. Coming back into the racing, a lot of times this season you were kind of sitting in with the group. It looked like that was going on here today. Tell us just the strategy from the beginning, and then we'll get into how it played out.
Yeah, after pre-riding, to be honest, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get a gap here. Like, there's no long pedaling sections. There's no physically difficult section. There's no technically difficult section. So it's like, how do you manage? And so I tried a few times. I tried to get into the race with an open mind and like see, okay, so I tried to attack a couple times, like that kind of beginning section, and then I tried to attack in the back section, and like it could spread out the group, but I couldn't really get rid of like Sid and Lizzie. So I think people that are similar strength, like it's really hard to make a difference. And so after that, I was like, okay, well, I guess it's gonna like be by group and see if someone can make is gonna make a mistake, or is it gonna be a sprint? And I attacked. I thought I needed to be first, kind of getting into the pit. So I attacked out of the second pit, and I got there, and then actually Lizzie did a really good pass on me before the off-camber, and she got a little bit of a gap there. So to be honest, I was still confident. I was like, I still think I can get it, but then I didn't. Then I ran out of real estate, and I kind of caught up to her in the sprint, but didn't have enough to like actually pass her. So she won, and I lost. So good for her. Congrats, Lizzie. I'm a little bummed, but it is what it is. That's okay.
Yeah, it's a short sprint. So and it seemed like the conventional wisdom was even just getting to the back. If you were in front, you almost could carry it there. So it's interesting to hear that she made that pass and was able to carry it to the end.
Yeah, she did. Like, she made that pass. She made a pass there, and I think I kind of trying to replay it in my mind, but I think I didn't ride the off camber as smooth that time. So she got like a second there, and that was honestly enough. Like, I kind of closed it at the end of the pits, but it was too late to get around. I'm like, I'll replay that in my mind 1,000 times. But ultimately, like, she got it, I didn't. And the way I see it is like, I'm super frustrated, honestly. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, okay, what can I learn from this? And if I learn, I think what I can learn is I should have been more aggressive with like holding my line and not letting her pass. And I think if I can learn that and bring that to the next races and to Europe, then this weekend is not lost. Like, there's things to learn out of that, and I need to adjust some things. Maybe I was too confident. Maybe I was like not riding aggressive enough. So I'm learning from that, and hopefully, growing from it for the races to come.
Bounce back at Canadian Nats next week, right?
Yes, that's the goal. And Tabor the weekend after. So those are the main goals. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, DC.
I mean, as always, I always appreciate the way Magali thinks about these things, especially after the fact, kind of heat of the moment, post. I mean, a little bit later after the race, but just she just a good perspective on it, and it's funny because, God, have I already talked this on the podcast? If I have, I apologize. I've been listening to this golf podcast. You guys probably know I'm into golf, and they're struggling. They're struggling to get to scratch, but that's life. That's life in general.
Chasing
the thing in there.
We'll give them a plug. They need our help to get more viewers. They probably only have like 1 million.
Yeah, but one of the things they go back to, they talk about this they talk about Kobe Bryant, and there's something where they're like, oh, he has this quote, and I think it's pretty applicable. It's like, every time you fail, it's actually just time to learn. It's a lesson, right? And I think that's kind of like, I've thought about that through our process this entire time, is like, every time we've tried something, if we made a mistake, it's like, okay, it's okay to feel the emotions of like being upset, but you can't like live there. You have to like, okay, feel it, sit with it for a bit. That's okay. That's human. You can't also deny that. You can't ball it up. But then it's like, okay, how can I solve it? And that's sort of how I've looked at our whole process. And so I just thought it was interesting. I like that she was kind of thinking through the same things that I have been, obviously as a really strong bike racer, and me as a mediocre video and editor guy. But so I just appreciate that.
Yeah,
I think it's a good way to sort of look at life. As I, reach middle age and,
and listen to golf podcasts. Speaking of which, so it was Tyler Cloutier is the one that got you onto that podcast, right? And then you told me about it. I started listening to it, and I think 3 or 4 seasons in, and then I think at Cincy I was telling Mike Brennanman about it, Ella and Owen's dad, and I saw he was at Pan Am's. He was like, hey, yeah, really digging this podcast. I got like 3 or 4 guys at work who are listening to it too. So I think that they owe us some of that Titleist money.
I agree 100%.
All right.
That's amazing. Good job,
yeah,
Tyler.
So Lizzie taking that win, Mags, second, Sydney McGill, third place, Anna McGailey, continuing just a outstanding season in fourth
Strong
place.
Race.
Yeah, Raylan Nuss in fifth, and Lauren Zerner first time giving up her Pan Am's jersey in a while. Although she couldn't wear it this year because of in the elites. But yeah, good racing out there in the women's elite. Heading over to the men. Yeah, exactly what we expected in this one for the majority of the race. Strohmeyer and Brunner. It's kind of been the story all season long, and it continued here.
And same thing behind them too, right? Familiar faces. Yeah. They're creating just good stories all throughout the race. I mean, I think that's kind of been a treat this year. Is there's a bunch of guys just below those two who are trading, podium spots all season long.
Yeah. And this was kind of a fun one because it was kind of the people who have never been here versus the people who have been here a lot. So, again, Strohmeyer's been racing this race. We'll talk to him, or we talked to him for the video, which you can check out there. But he basically was saying, this is what he always, because the DCCX was always an early season race and local race, and that was always for him where the season began. Season begins at DCCX, and then he would move on to UCI stuff. Or even as a kid, this be the first race that they would do. So he had been out here forever. Kerry Warner won the UCI back when we were a UCI race, probably like 2017 or 18. He won here. Ben Frederick used to live in DC. He's been out at this race many times. He got 8th out here. So it was good just to see these folks coming back and racing again. So that was kind of neat in this field. I will point out Caleb Swartz also made it out for this race, and should give a shout out to Caleb. He was selected for the Lifetime Grand Prix. So it's official. Cyclocross, I think, in the rear view for Mr. Swartz.
Well, good luck, Caleb. It seems like you've really
that's big news.
Enjoyed your gravel.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah, good for you.
But back to this one. So this is where I think we can get into that. We heard some grumblings, and this is what I was giving Grant a hard time earlier about his questions. This is Grant Fanning, by the way, not Grant Holicky.
Go, you're a legend.
Okay, so one of his questions is, does the course need more power sections? And which is I don't know. Does it?
So that's
yes.
really, I mean, like you said, that's interesting, right? Because obviously we're not racing the course and we're filming
right.
it, and it does seem like there are power sections there. We talked about them. The pit, I was like, I never filmed the pit so much, but that spot where I could film both sides of the pit, where a lot of attacks happened and a lot of things happened, and so
if you came off of the MW, whatever you want to call it, I always say MW because it's just kind of this joke that goes around, like people are like, oh, we're racing, it's the M feature, and then to be other people are like, well, it's actually a W, and which always for Taylor Jones and I always, we would always call it the Schooner Hill from Mallrats, because he's like, what is it, when he's like literally looking at the magic eye picture and he says, I think it's a sailboat, and the guy behind him says it's a schooner. So we would, since nobody, there was an argument on what it was, we just called it Schooner Hill.
Right. Okay. So from Schooner Hill,
from the exit of Schooner Hill, you are on the road without anything, just a straight shot to the road, straight shot to the grass, straight shot to pit 1, make the U-turn at pit 1, straight shot from pit 1 all the way to the turns before the stairs. That seemed to be the kind of the power section of this course, if you wished to use it. And then actually after you got on the other side of the stairs, it was really nothing in your way from basically the gate of the Coast Guard pond all the way around the pond to the back of the course and the off camber. That seemed like another power section. Is that enough or not enough? I don't know. Is it as much as like the long stretches of power in Europe? No, it's not. And here's the thing. This course is not in Europe. So, again, I think the way that Strohmeyer was able to win this race was he was out of the saddle, sprinting out of every turn. And eventually that stretched it out, and Brunner wasn't able to make every attack like that. Where courses that Brunner is great at have these long stretches where Strohmeyer is like, I can't stay up with him. He's just too strong. Right. So it's okay to mix it up with different terrains and different courses. We don't have to have the same one every week. And again, it's not like
Right.
this was designed just for that. I know I'm sounding defensive now. I'm not. I'm just like, this is what this venue has always been. This is kind of what people knew they were getting into.
Yeah, and it's also like, I don't know. We didn't get to talk to Brunner after the race. I mean, sometimes you have a bad day.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't have it, or just the training didn't hit right. And
I think it's also a bummer. The guy is just a legend when it comes to Pan Ams. I mean, he's a legend anyway. He's one of the best cyclocross racers we've had in the U.S. and North America, and he's won 4 straight Pan Ams. And you know, when you win 4, you kind of want to win 5. So I get it. You know, I'd be pissed off too. I don't know if he was. I mean, I'd be disappointed. I think anyone's going to be disappointed just to lose anyway. But that was a phenomenal streak.
Yeah, it's a great streak, and you know what? Extra impetus on nationals for him now. You know, and if Fayetteville is, even though the power line climb is mostly out, I mean, I think it's a course that seemed to be more suitable to him. Best World Cup finish, 4th place for him. So yeah, extra bulletin material there. Yeah, you know, thinking about watching the video and cutting together. Yeah, Strohmeyer is out of the saddle a lot, you know, and that, like, talking about like just having an off day, like that's a kind of a little bit, that's a different, you know, punchy power, a little bit of different system, right? It's a little bit harder, you know, and it's not putting it in a lower gear or and pedaling more smoothly, right? So it's like it's harder to do, and Strohmeyer is clearly on a good day. He peaked just in time because he didn't win day 2. He was beat by, you know, Brody McDonald, winner at Crybaby Hill and Tulsa Tough, you know, which is like a lot of power. So yeah, I mean, can't win them all.
No, and also congratulations to Andrew Strohmeyer. That was a heck of a race.
Exactly.
I mean, he crushed it. And again, you know, it's nice to be able to have 2 hometown races.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier. Yeah,
you know,
that is pretty nice.
Lives in Maryland, had Charm City, but this is, you know, again, this is his where his team is based in Washington D.C. and he's it's Baltimore and D.C. pretty close, and he's so.
As the crow flies, but as learned not by car, not
when
very
you're in a
close
car
at all.
But also, you know, that whole Mid-Atlantic Bike Racing Association, MABRA, you know, that community is large, it's strong, it's very tight, and they support their own. So they were all out there cheering on Andrew in this one. He definitely had the home crowd advantage, and once he really established a decent lead, he was able to play with it, you know, ride in the steps. You know, he was able to pull that move out, which worked tactically one time and then was just a crowd pleaser the next time with a big pump of the fist. Guys, you know, throwing whips off of the top of the power section, and I think enjoying the experience. It's nice to be able to go out there, achieve your goals, and also enjoy the experience and just have that fun. And I just was smiling ear to ear with just seeing when he crossed the finish line, just seeing that crowd and cheering for him. And that was, you know, being part of the team that put this race on, just to have people show up and that many people, I mean, 3-4 rows deep on the finish line, and you're like, oh, cross is dead. But, you know, I think we proved that not necessarily. And that was a really cool scene. And just you know, same for that Lizzie and Mag sprint as well. Just they're not from the DC area, but still the crowds all day long, especially in that area, were just super cool to see. And just that whole experience and environment just was kind of the highlight of the day for me.
Yeah, no, it was you snuck out and got some good photos too of that finish, even with a little direction too. And the rest of that podium, you know, Jules in third, like we've talked about him, really strong season, kind of rising to the top of those other guys. But, you know, Kerry Warner, it was Jules, Kerry, Tyler. Seen this trio many times before. Tyler faded towards the end, and it was Kerry and Jules, and Kerry was making a push for it. He came out of, I think, last lap, out of pit 1, just absolutely ripping and gapping Jules a little bit, and like was wanting to get to the stairs first. They go to the backside, and on the last lap, I can't go over the bridge and go to the backside and film because I want to catch that last turn, which was obviously a good decision. And so I see them, I'm shooting through the trees, they're together. And then all of a sudden, Jules just comes out, and so we have to review the tape, and Kerry got it wrong on that off camber. I think he said he hit his pedal on the stake there and just biffed it, and Jules got a gap. And
as someone asked me, is that a hunting camera? When I was putting it up on the telephone pole in the field.
Yeah, it's a trail cam. Yeah, we were hunting the shots, man. We certainly would, trying to get the content. So yeah, that was I think Kerry, his last race at Pan Am's and second to last race in DC. I know he wanted it. He really did. And that off camber caught a lot of folks out. It was a really good feature.
He was able to redeem himself. Well, Kenny was in the unofficial Pan Am's single speed championship. So he won the jersey there.
Well, I did see, speaking of Grant, that he didn't get the whole shot though. He didn't do it for money and get the whole shot. Grant got that one single speed race. Yeah, I talked to Kerry after the DCCX race, and he was like, "That was a bad idea." I was like, "What?" He's like, "We're doing them both." He's like, "I felt terrible."
Three races in 2 days.
Yeah. But we did talk to Jules, unbeknownst to me. Literally, we finished the interview right before he got called up to his podium. But let's hear what he has to say.
Let's do it. All right, Jules, you said that you were a little bit tired after USEX and all that. Great season so far. Took a couple weeks off. How was it coming into this race?
Yeah, it was good to have a little bit of time at home, get some training in, some more hours in the legs. But after a little bit of time off, it's always hard to know where you stack up again. But once I found myself with Tyler and Kerry, it was a familiar sight. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, as the season went on, that was kind of your group. And as you progressed, it was like you were almost the leader of that group, which sort of turned out today. Tell us just, to walk us through those last couple laps in your battle with Kerry.
Yeah, me and Kerry were just like locked the whole time. Tyler was hanging on, and then after a couple of digs by me and Kerry, we kind of popped him off. And then once we had a good gap on Tyler, it was kind of like, it's hard to make a difference on this course, so we kind of knew it was going to come down to that last lap. And then, yeah, pretty strategic, like where you want to sit behind and where you want to make your move.
So tomorrow now, just throw it all out the door and just go for it from the start?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, C2 day. I mean, just have fun and see what can happen. But yeah.
Well, congrats, and great job getting on that podium.
Yeah, thanks.
The guy, and I know we've said this before, just seems like he's having fun, and it's really cool to see. And the results are happening as well. So good on Jules. You're really curious to see how he's going to do the rest of the season. Nationals, I think he's going to be one of our favorites there, and then just over in Europe. But yeah, anything else really? I think we kind of covered this race as well. Should we get to the rest of our questions?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Oh, well, did we already talk about this? David Hildebrand, who do you think the new Nationals course in Arkansas favors? All elite fields, and why? If we're just talking about the men's and the women's elite, and right now, we don't know what Vita's doing. I think Vita is the wild card here. I think if Vita shows up, I don't care what the course is, she's going to be your favorite.
Yeah.
If not, Vita, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of our strong women are going to be racing U23s, or they're Canadian.
I think Lizzie is your favorite past Vita.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like I said, it's hard to know exactly the course. We think it's very, less technical, but I'm trying to decipher from the Ride with GPS course that they've shared, and I can't remember anything. So, yeah, I like those two picks. I think those are in the women's two favorites. Obviously, Brunner, Strohmeyer, Jules. I mean, I think those are kind of other picks there too as well.
Yeah, I think that you have to, even if it's not the same course, it's still going to be a similar course. So I think really the advantage is going to swing back to Brunner in that situation. So we'll see. We'll see how those stack up. I perfectly honest, I was just focused on Pan Ams, and Nationals is kind of an afterthought at this point for me. I'm sure that'll change really, as we get closer, but for now it was like this was the one. This was the Continental Championship.
Yeah. Championship season.
It certainly is. Okay. Good question there. All right, let's get into this one. Why was everyone in national kit at Euros but trade kit at Pan Ams? This is from John Reminesco. So this is something that goes back to we used to see the winners. If you won a U.S. national or Canadian championship and the Pan-American Championship, for years there was no rule, no Capaci rule. Capaci is kind of the organization that runs the Pan-American Federation, that said that you were required to wear one over the other. Like in Europe, they had that rule. They had a hierarchy at the European cycling, the UEC level, that said, if you win the Continental jersey, if you win the European jersey, you have to wear that, even if you're the national champion. We didn't have that. That was never voted on by Capaci. Eventually, the UCI just sort of decided that for everyone. They kind of took that power away from the federations and said, here is the hierarchy of jerseys. So that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago that stopped. And then if you won the Pan Am jersey, you had to wear the Pan Am jersey. So until we have nationals on the men's side, you won't see the U.S. jersey anymore. Andrew can't wear it. He has to wear the Pan Am jersey. I'm sure he's not too concerned about that. But that's why. So when Brunner had both, that's why we only saw the white jersey, because that's what he had to wear. I say all that to set up what's going on with, we had this question from quite a few people, why it is that in Europe, everybody is wearing their federation kit. And in our race in DC for the Pan Ams, everybody's wearing their trade team kit. And that comes down to Capaci again and how they treat this championship. So it's a little more Wild West here. We really don't have the rules that Europe does. Europe treats the Continental Championship like a world championship. They kind of put those on the same level, where you have to make the team. Mm-hmm. You have to be selected. Like France is only going to send so many people to the Continental Championship, to Euros. Same with all of the other nations. They are selected, they make the team, and then they travel, and then they race as a federation, as a team in their country's kit. It's just like Worlds. It's exactly the same. And that's the decision of the European Federation, of UEC. Capaci has not done the same. They have not mandated that. And I think it's a good thing, because that allows a lot more people to race, where that selection doesn't have to be. If we had to make a selection, if it was like, okay, you get 8 riders from the US and 8 riders from Canada. Right. We don't have all the countries that the European Continental Championship has. We do, and we wish that they would come and race cyclocross. That's just not the reality. Like, right. We're not getting these South American countries. We'll get 1 or 2 riders, but we're not getting teams of riders. If it got to a point where we had 200 people who wanted to race Continental Championship, Pan Ams, then we would have to do that. We'd have to change. We'd have to have teams. But we don't have that now. We had a field of 20 and 30 something in the elites, and they were all North American racers. I think we had a couple. Actually, in the elites, I don't think we had any. And it's a bummer. I wish we did, but that's just not where we're at right now. If you go to the mountain bike Pan-American Championships, different story. You get a lot more. Road, same thing. Track, just not for cyclocross. So that's why there isn't the need to have these strict rules that Europe has to have so that they can maintain field sizes. I wish we had that problem, but we don't. So that's why everybody gets to wear their trade kits and does not have to wear federation kits.
I think they should race world in trade kits. Just gonna say that, put that out there.
I'm not opposed to it. How much sleep did you get last weekend? Chris McGovern would like to know.
I think I went to bed at 2:30 on Saturday.
Yeah.
Woke up around 7. But I feel like I got a little more sleep this weekend.
I think we did. So I don't know if that was, again, it was great to have Danny there. Maybe a little bit of workflow, but it still seemed like we were editing late into the night.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and also we didn't cover on Sunday, so that it meant that I was like, okay, I can spend a little more time on Sunday editing. And then as these things turned out, it's like, well, maybe I'll go to the race and hang out. Maybe I'll go shoot. Then it's like, maybe I'll go hang out. Maybe I won't go at all. And then I said, no, I must go give myself a break. And so I, was making thumbnails and uploading and like, okay, it's going to start in 15 minutes. Like I can get there. So a little more sleep though.
We had the elites out in, 15 or 16 hours after they happened. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Elite men posted during the elite men's race. So yeah, under 24 hours.
Yep, and the women were already up. Okay. This is from Ginger Damas. Does Bill ever race single speed? I mean, it's a normal step in the evolution of a legend who raced. Not a legend. B, I've raced a handful of single speed races, which is very sad because I have a very cool Zancanado custom single speed bike. So that's
what's the evolution of a media legend? What's the
I think
shooting?
you have to go do Turbocross. We still, that's kind of the
right. We need our invite to Turbocross.
They need Americans at Turbocross, and
they do need North American representation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Grant, who was racing single speed, not a UCI race. What the heck was the UCI parking area all about? It was about where the larger UCI teams parked. It was a little far away from the course. But, here's the thing. If it had rained all night, I believe, I can't remember which year it was, we spent a long time pushing cars out of that sort of normal spectator parking lot. And we also, Robert Marion once, we used to have a different UCI lot, and Robert Marion took his big RV in there, and then we kind of told him not to, and then he had to get that towed out for like $1,000. So we wanted to avoid those issues, and we had this really nice big lot that everybody could set up with. There's an opportunity to bring trainers and tents to warm up near the start line. So for the riders, it wasn't a big deal. For the mechanics, I get it. It was like a 7-minute walk to the parking lot. But here's the thought experiment that I want to do here. I want the folks that were unhappy with where the UCI parking was at, who have all gone to Europe. What I need them to do in a month is track down Audrey Vanderpool and complain about how far away from the pits they have to park at Hogerheide, because it's farther than what they were doing at Pan Am's. I understand That's not how it is at most North American races. But, we got different like things we have to deal with. And at the venue that we have a lot of restrictions. So it was tough. Are we going to try to look to see if maybe there's something different we can do? Sure. But for now, think of it as European cyclocross. Like, people were complaining that our course wasn't Euro enough. What I say to those folks is our parking was. When you're at Holst, and you're like in the next town over, go to the race organizer of Holst and say, hey, what the heck are you, DCCX?
I have an idea.
Okay.
So the pit is at the end of a very flat, tightly cut section of grass. It happens to be a driving range.
Uh-huh.
So you can park there, but beware. Some retired armed forces person might be hitting their 7-iron into your camper van. But you're closer to the pits. Could you make a net?
I like that idea. You will notice that nobody was parked on that side of the street, and that was a mandate from the folks that really didn't want all those vehicles on their driving range.
I know.
But I like it. I like that idea. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that was all the questions we got. Easy peasy. Those are fun.
I mean, good weekend. Pan Am's done. CXTV.
Oh, it's not done, Boedi.
Well,
the racing might be done, but we got a few more videos we got to put up. We got a lot of post race administration still going on. It never ends.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm sure.
Never ends.
Yeah, I don't have to do any of that, so it's done for me.
I'm sorry if I sound tired. I'm trying not to sound cranky. I'm not cranky. I just we just gotta defend our race. I think everybody had a good time for the most part.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was great. I had a good time. I was trying to think if I was not able to sample any of the food trucks, unfortunately. I heard
they were good. I didn't either.
I saw Danny had a really awesome burger, and he generously offered me some, but we got the pizza. I did have a beer from the sponsor, Right Proper. It was very tasty. So check them out. And yeah, I don't know. That was I like that venue. I love when the race is in a park like that. I mean, I know it's not quite a park; it's a little bit different, but just in the city, the fact that I could just ride a Lime bike from your house there, and on the way back have a little adventure of my own, and exploring your neighborhood. Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, the great thing for me, Boedi, when I went Sunday morning, and really didn't need to. I wanted to take some photos, but didn't really need to. But I got about halfway to the venue and realized that I left my cameras at home. And other place would I be able to just turn around and drive for 5 minutes and pick them up and then still make it to the venue in no time. So I like that. We'll do it again next year. We're back there next year.
That's right. 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
All right. Exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations to everybody who are the new Pan-American champions. Thank you so much for everybody who came out. It was awesome to see so many people and to be able to share our humble shutdown town with everyone. And now off to new adventures like Colorado. I'm gonna go be a spectator, Boedi.
Yeah. So people want to know what the capacity of you at Boulder is. Strictly spectator?
Yeah.
Shooting photos.
I will have my little point and shoot camera.
Okay.
And my phone. And I'll watch the races and we can talk about them if we want to.
That sounds great.
I may not be paying attention to everyone because I'm just gonna be there and chilling out and hanging out with my family.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I can recommend
I'll be there.
Get a cold beer, drink it, hang out with Lauren a little bit. Maybe she can live stream for us.
I mean, I could say the reason that we're going there is because my daughter goes to college there. But, the real reason that we're going is because it's Carolyn Manny's retirement party. And, I don't want to miss that.
Oh, yeah. No, you definitely know. It's good. It's good that you're going to be there for that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see all you. We will see all of you at some point down the road.